In a quiet cafe tucked away in the small alley of Samcheongdong, Seoul, it sits across from us with a gentle smile, her fingers wrapped delicately around a warm cup of chamomile tea. The spring air outside carries a soft breeze, but inside, the warmth of her voice fills the space like a quiet melody. She leans in just slightly, eyes glinting with a mix of mischief and memory. It was my first time meeting his family. I was so nervous, she says, almost in a whisper, then lets out a small laugh, the kind that hints at both embarrassment and affection. Her cheeks color faintly as she recalls the weekend that changed something between her and Lee Jong Suk, not just emotionally, but deeply, in a way that brings families into love stories. Their love story, once hidden in the shadows of busy schedules and public scrutiny, had gradually bloomed into something both sincere and steady. After years of being colleagues, then close friends, and finally something more, Eun and Lee Jong Suk had quietly built a relationship rooted in mutual respect, shared creativity, and subtle gestures of care. Though they publicly confirmed their relationship in early 2023, they had kept most details away from the spotlight. But now, for the first time, it opens up about an intimate milestone: meeting Lee Jong Suk's family. It happened in early March 2025. A quiet weekend just before spring burst fully into bloom. Jong Suk had invited it to Busan, his hometown, to spend a weekend with his parents. The invitation had come gently, casually, as they were walking by the Han River one evening. He said, "My mom asked when you're coming down." And I just froze, he recalls with a sheepish smile. I didn't know they even talked about me. I mean, I hoped they did. But hearing it made everything feel so real. Busan, with its coastal air and slower rhythm, was a world away from Yu's usual Seoul routine. Though she'd visited the city before for concerts and filming, this time was different. She wasn't going as a celebrity. She was going as someone's girlfriend. And not just anyone, Lee Jong Suk, one of Korea's most beloved actors. I asked him 3 times if he was serious, she admits. And each time, he just looked at me like it was the most normal thing in the world. I spent the next week overthinking everything. What should she wear? Should she bring a gift? Would his mom recognize her more as a singer or as Jong Suk's girlfriend? She ended up selecting a cream-colored blouse, a long beige skirt, and soft pink flats. Simple, elegant, not too flashy. She brought a carefully arranged bouquet of pale peonies for his mother and a rare blend of Hongja tea for his father. I even printed labels for the tea. Like. Why? She laughs. But I just wanted them to know I was sincere. The two took the KTX from Seoul Station on a Saturday morning. The ride was quiet, comfortable, yet charged with anticipation. I looked out the window, watching the gray tones of the city soften into the blues and greens of the countryside. Jong Suk held her hand the entire way, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her knuckles. He didn't say much, just squeezed my hand when I looked anxious. That helped more than any words. When they arrived in Busan, the air smelled like salt and pine. Jong Suk drove them to Hyundai, where his parents lived in a modest 2-story house with a view of the ocean in the distance. The cherry blossoms had just begun to bloom, the neighborhood with soft pinks. As they approached the front gate, it felt her palms grow cold despite the mild weather. Jong Suk rang the bell, and the door opened to reveal his mother, smiling warmly. She looked so kind, it says. She didn't even let me finish my bow. She just took the flowers and hugged me. Inside, the house smelled like simmering beef soup and toasted sesame oil. A comforting, homey scent that made her feel oddly emotional. She was greeted by Jong Suk's father, who offered a polite smile and a deeper than expected bow. He took the tea with both hands, thanking her softly. They didn't treat me like a celebrity at all, it says, her eyes glimmering. They treated me like someone special to their son. That meant everything. They sat down for an early dinner that had been lovingly prepared. There was galbijjim, japki, kimchi pancakes, and a bowl of steaming dough and jangchigi. Jong Suk's mom gently encouraged him to eat more, while his dad quietly placed more meat in her bowl. It was like a scene from a drama, it says, laughing. Didn't know where to put my hands or how to sit. They were so warm. After dinner, they had tea in the living room. He chatted softly with his mother about music, Busan, and favorite foods. The conversation flowed slowly, without pressure. She said, I watched your drama with Jong Suk. Two had good chemistry, and I just blushed like a high schooler. As the evening wound down, Jong Suk brought it to the small garden in the backyard. Air was cooler now, but the sky had turned a rich indigo. They sat on a wooden bench beneath a budding magnolia tree. He asked me if I was okay, if I felt welcome. He says. I couldn't even speak. I just nodded and held his hand. The train ride back to Seoul the next day felt quieter, not because of nerves, but because of something else, a deep, comforting silence that comes when something important has shifted. He leaned on Jong Suk's shoulder, eyes closed, letting the rhythm of the train lull her into rest. I felt like I had passed through a doorway, she says softly, not just into his home, but into his life. Returning to the memory, it takes a slow breath. Her smile softens as she recalls waking up the next morning in Busan. They had stayed at a nearby boutique guest house close to Dalmaji Hill, offering a stunning view of the ocean. Morning light filtered through paper curtains as it watched the waves roll in from the wide windows. Was still nervous, but something about the family's warmth from the previous night helped calm her. Breakfast was simpler, homemade juk, rice porridge, and seaweed soup prepared by Jong Suk's mother. This meal, while quiet and casual, held a deeper sense of comfort. It was like I was seeing another side of him, it says. The way he interacted with his mom, how he helped her set the table. It was so gentle, so natural. After breakfast, the family took a walk near Hyundai Beach. The streets were lined with blooming cherry blossoms, and the sea breeze made her tuck her scarf tighter around her neck. They stopped for hotteok at a small vendor Jong Suk had loved since childhood. His mom insisted on paying for everything. He laughs. He said, "You're our guest." But she didn't make me feel like one. As they walked along the shore, Jong Suk pointed out little memories, his elementary school nearby, the cafe he used to study in, the rock he climbed as a kid. He listened, taking it all in like the lyrics of an unwritten song. In the afternoon, they returned home. Jong Suk's father brought out old photo albums and the family spent hours flipping through pages of childhood birthdays, family trips, and awkward teenage phases. She found herself laughing along, recognizing the same smile in Jong Suk's younger face. His dad said, this was him when he first joined acting school. He was so serious back then. And I joked. He still is. They all laughed. That moment felt like I belonged. Later, Jong Suk and I helped prepare a small dinner. It was informal, a few side dishes, grilled mackerel, and rice. He chopped vegetables while Jong Suk handled the grill outside. The scene was ordinary, but it felt quietly monumental. We were just two people, in an apron and slippers, making dinner together, she says. It was something I never got to do often. That evening, before they left, Jong Suk's mother pulled her aside. She said, "You're always welcome here." Not as a celebrity, but as someone our son cares deeply for. I didn't know what to say. I just bowed and held her hand. As the car pulled away, he looked back at the house. Windows were lit, the curtains drawn, but the warmth inside lingered with her. That visit changed something, she reflects. It wasn't about approval or expectations, it was about family, and I felt like I had touched a piece of his heart that few people see. Now, months later, it says the memory still makes her smile unexpectedly. She hums more when she writes. Lyrics lean softer. She says love doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just sits quietly beside you, handing you a bowl of soup. Maybe I was nervous, she says, but I'm so glad I went. And as she finishes her tea, placing the cup down with a soft clink, she adds with a smile, I think they liked me. I hope they did. In that moment, it isn't just Korea's beloved soloist. She's just a woman, in love, grateful for a family that made her feel at home. And somewhere in Busan, there's a photo album with a new memory, a quiet weekend where two worlds gently met, and quietly, beautifully, became